Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fearless Slayer's Guide. This time, to my personal favorite weapon, the Warpike. As always, I am D, and this is going to be the last of the weapon guides I do. Unless Phoenix Labs decide... I think it's Phoenix Labs. It's Phoenix. I know that they're Phoenix is the first part, but unless they decide to introduce another weapon, in which case I will do a guide on that one after I figure it out. But the Warpike is easily my favorite weapon. It's also, like the hammer from last time, it's got a gimmick to it. Its gimmick is a bit different though. First off, let's take a look at the combos. You have two real combos, Piercing Flurry and Aether Harvester. But Piercing Flurry can actually kind of go on forever if you're, and it can also help you chase if you're good. As I said, hold a directional input while attacking to perform a short side hop. So between any of these hits, with the exception of the last one, actually, I guess leading into the last one, you can basically reset the combo by moving in a direction. This is great if you can predict where the behemoth is going and hit Piercing Flurry. You can actually keep it going. It doesn't use up your stamina, and you can actually just keep the hits going, and it's very good because of the specialty of the Warpike. And Aether Harvester. Physical attack strength is multiplied by current meter position. So the higher your meter is, the more damage you'll do with Aether Harvester, which is a very big deal because that's part of the trade-off. You have to make choices with the Warpike. But you have piercing attacks and harvesting attacks. Piercing attacks, repeated stationary attacks that can wound behemoth parts. Harvesting, forward-moving attacks that rapidly build special meter. Now you have two special attacks, Etheric Conversion and Pike Blast. Etheric Conversion, like it says, meter quantity determines ammo power. You take all of your current special meter and you turn it into a blast for the Pike Blast. As it's hold down to bear down on your target, then release to fire a long-range blast. I'll show you guys once we get in, but the Pike Blast actually has something that it doesn't tell you about, is that the longer you hold to aim, the more accurate you're going to be. If you just quick fire it, your shot can go off anywhere. But there's a trade-off there. If you hold it too long, your shot will go wild. It can still hit, but it's a lot less likely. And then the specialty, piercing move behemoth parts to enable damage bonuses. All weapons can do, like I showed you last week with the hammer knocking over the Rogue Nasher a lot, every weapon can do that. It's just that the hammer is better at it. Where the Warpikes shines is that it creates weak points. And I'll show you those, hopefully, with the Rogue Nasher I'm going to be fighting with this thing. But let's go ahead and launch into this hunt, and I'll show you guys my favorite weapon. The reason I like the Warpike is it's a bit different. I'm partial to spears for weaponry, just because the long reach, and in this case the ability to, it's not just a spear, this is actually more like a glaive. Because you have the long range poke damage, but you also have the spins of the Aether Harvester. I'm actually going to start off on the Aether Harvester, and because that way you can see what it's like. It's actually a pretty long hit chain. The first two clicks are easy to land. It's the third one that gets difficult. This is the weapon I've spent the most time with, and this is the only one I have at tier 4. This is not my tier 4 one. This is the basic starting Warpike, fully upgraded, but still. It's about a quarter the power of my upgraded tier 4 pike. Which is actually one thing to note. The Warpike is also special in that it's the only weapon that does not have a behemoth specific variant. This is how the Warpike is always going to look. You can up damage with it, but you can never get like a fire or a lightning pike. But let's go ahead and show you the combos. Like I said, we're going to start with Aether Harvester. There's 1, 2, and then this. All of those spins deal damage. Ether Harvester is a long hitting chain, and it will fill up most of your meter if you can land it. And again, Ether Harvester does more damage the stronger your meter is. But the other one, Piercing Flurry, this is the hard one, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You saw how it started to kind of stab multiple times? You can actually stab a lot. The way you do that is when you go to hit number 5, hold it. Hold the left click. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the 5th click you hold it in. It will... I'm not letting it go. That's just how long it goes naturally. Now you'll see that will also fill up a lot of your meter. Before we get going to the behemoth, let's show you the rolling attacks. That's not... I'm trying to... There, that's the rolling for the stab, for the piercing attack. For the harvester, that's what it looks like. So you've actually got a lot of good reach with this thing, and you've also got a wide ranging ability to hit. Because the ether harvester basically is in that swing, and in basically all of those, you're not just hitting in front of you, you're hitting off a little bit to the sides as well. There's a wide angle on those attacks. Now, unless the Rogue Nasher is just over this hill, which it is not, I'll show you guys in just a second, once I've found the beastie. Don't go anywhere. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, there's the beastie. That didn't take me anywhere near as long as the one for the hammer. Let's go ahead and show you guys just why I like the Warpike. Hopefully I can show you also what it means by causing extra damage by piercing the hide. You'll notice I don't... Also, this will allow me to show you how the conversion works. Which, actually, there's one thing I need to note, is that if you take a hit while your meter is there, you will lose all of your meter. I'm gonna go ahead and... You see, I lost all my meter there because I hit Q. That's because I converted it. Now I'm going to wait. Take the shot. You'll see, as it gets closer to the center, you'll be more accurate. Once it's at the center, you can basically release it. And there you go. I just lost all my meter because I got greedy. But you notice on the Nasher's head how there's a bit of a blue smoke coming off? That is a weak point formed from the spear. Because, as I said, the Warpike is very good at creating weak points. Hitting that does extra damage, and eventually it will break. Basically, that will serve as a marker for your team to say, hit here, because that is easier to break and get parts from. So if I wanted diffuse essence, I don't really, because it doesn't matter to me anymore. Then I would hit there and possibly break it faster. You can also use it as a target for your shots. I'm taking a lot more hits than I should, but that's because I'm just rushing. There, you can see another one on the inside of its left leg. I don't have any data on whether or not you have to hit in the exact spot of the smoke, but I don't think you do. There you see me breaking it off. And that does mean, when you break it, that means the weak point goes away, but the thing takes a ton more damage for a second. And you see, 819, that was a normal hit from just a... That's not even the full damage this thing can do. See if I can actually get this thing. This is not going to be a full blast, but you'll also notice you have three different slots for the charge shots. So this is a much more powerful one, or it would have been. I thought it would. When you see an exhausted behemoth like this, this is a great time to use the spin. There's the full meter. I'll charge it. The best way to tell what the charge level is just look at the color. Gray is a lower charge. Light blue, like I'm about to fire. That is the max damage I can do. This is, keep in mind, this is a basic starting weapon. And there goes the Rogue Nasher. You don't have to do the planting the banner, but I like to. It's just how I am. But there you go, folks. That is a good look at the Warpike. Again, the Warpike is all about managing your ether and using those shots you can charge up. Although you gotta be careful, because if you get greedy like I did a couple of times, you can lose your ability to charge up that shot. It's long range and very rapid hitting. It doesn't hit quite as hard as the sword, or as fast as the chain blade, or as fast or as far away as the chain blades, but for the mid-level speed weapon, the Warpike is actually a very good choice. It's also very useful, again, because like I've said, if you use this with a team, combine this with a hammer, and you can actually break off a lot of parts very quickly. Because you create weak points, the hammer user hits them, and hammers are very good at breaking parts, as are axes, because of how heavy they hit. And once we get into the Behemoth guides, I'll be able to show you guys some special tricks you can do. I'll be using the Warpike for those, just because the Warpike is my best weapon. But a couple of the tricks I'll show you will apply to other weapons. So mostly they're going to apply to the hammer, because of the hammer's cannon. But I hope you enjoyed this one, folks. These guides are actually quite a bit of fun to make, because I had to think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to present the weapon. But like I said, this is the last one, last of the weapon guides, unless Phoenix Labs puts out a new weapon when this goes to open beta, or even when this hits full launch. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please feel free to like or favorite the video. You can also leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. If you want to keep up with me and my current series, then please feel free to subscribe to the channel. That does help me out a lot, and I do appreciate it. As for that, folks, I have been D. The final Slayer's weapon guide is the Fearless Slayer's Guide to the Warpike. Join me next time when we start in on the bestiary of the Behemoths with the Fearless Slayer's Guide to the Nasher Hunt. For now, though, good night and good gaming.